Oftentimes on my videos, someone will comment to the effect of, I don't know if I'm going to ascend. I think I might have done something wrong, or I'm doing something wrong. And when I receive those comments, it's really, really heartbreaking. In this video, I want to shed some light on that mindset and really open up a new way of thinking about this whole process that really is going to kind of put those limiting beliefs to rest. You will ascend. In fact, you are already ascended, and that is key. We are multi-dimensional beings. That means that we exist in different dimensions, different phases or bandwidths of consciousness, different frequency realities. We exist in these realities simultaneously. You've heard me say and others say that everything is happening simultaneously in the now. It's just as we drop into a dense dimensional field, we start to experience polarity, which lays out into a timeline, and we have a beginning and we have an end and we have all of those spots in between. But we could get caught up in this dense physical reality, this dimensional field, and we can buy into limiting beliefs that we are separate from the truth of who we are, which is a multi-dimensional being, right? We're not just a singular dimensional field being in 3D. We are a multi-dimensional being. You may not be aware of that in this moment, but that's the whole point of why you're here. You came in here to awaken to the fact that you are not bound by this dimensional field, this dense dimensional field, right? If you rely only on your five senses, you are going to experience a reality of separation, and you're going to essentially feel as though you're cut off from the multidimensional you. But that is the furthest thing from the truth. You are multidimensional. You exist in all of these frequency bandwidths simultaneously. We are all connected, and it's just an amazing thing. So you need to remember that that is the truth of who you are. So when you start to feel these emotions of like, and these thoughts come up like, I'm doing something wrong, I'm not going to get there, I'm not going to ascend. Or here's another one that I get from people, another comment is that I feel like I'm going to be left behind, right? These are all self-serving limiting beliefs. These are beliefs that reinforce programming or a mindset of separation, really, that you are not connected to the whole, that you are not multidimensional and unlimited. You are. I'm going to say that throughout this video. So when you start to have these thoughts, when you start to feel anxious, that's a sign by your higher self, again, an aspect of you that is up here in a higher dimensional field. It's a sign from your higher self to observe these rogue thoughts that don't represent the truth of who you are. They're like there's an incongruency. They're like, they don't match up with the truth of who you are. We have this belief that we are separate, that we are locked into a physical being, and that we are not multidimensional. And that just does not align with your inner truth, which you know deep, deep down. It may not be evident to you, but you know it deep down, because that's what's highlighting these false beliefs, right? We tap in, we tie into these false beliefs, and they no longer serve us. So we get anxious in that energy. That's a sign from your higher self to release it, to let it go. You bring it back into the body and breathe it into the heart space, and you reaffirm that you are a unlimited, multi-dimensional, energetic being. This is purely an experience. Now, yeah, it feels like it's the only experience, right? Because of the density, because of this 3D field, it feels very, very real, because it's like it just manifests in such a physical way. And when we get tied up in the physicality of it, we essentially turn away from all of those other aspects of us that are trying to get our attention, the multidimensional aspects. Now, as you start to release some of those limiting beliefs, that you are separate, that you're not good enough, that you're not going to ascend, or that you're doing something wrong, and you start to be able to accept the fact that you chose this journey, that you came into this body, in fact, you manifested this body. You created this reality as a vessel for you to come in here and experience this physical world, this physical universe. So when you could start to release some of those old beliefs and realize that this is all your creation and that everything that's happening to you is serving you, you could start to spot those beliefs that no longer serve you, right? The belief that you're not good enough, these beliefs of separation, that you're cut off, that you messed up, all of that stuff kind of starts to fall by the wayside when you start to lean in and bring it back to the body and realize, you know what, in this moment, everything is perfect. And here's the interesting thing, right? We're so focused on a timeline of the past and the future that we're neglecting the present moment where all of that access is to all of your guides, your ET guides, your star guides, your higher self, the multidimensional you, your spirit guides, deceased relatives. They don't reside on the timeline. They reside in the frequency ladder, right? All we need to do is get present and kind of collapse the timeline, get present in the heart space, and all of a sudden, everything that resides up here starts to become known to you. It starts to become available to you, right? But you need to do that by releasing these beliefs that you are separate, that you are limited, that you are purely physical. When you start to engage in these mindset shifts and you start to go back to that well each and every day throughout your day, it could be as simple as a few breaths into the roots, into the sacral, into the heart, right? Into the solar plexus, and just reaffirm that you are okay in this moment and feel whatever's happening in your body. You are taking your mind off that timeline and into that present moment. And when you do that, everything available to you that's happening in the now starts to be able to come up through your central channel because your body is now vibrating at a higher rate and make it up to here where you could start to perceive it. Okay, so if you're feeling disconnected, if you're feeling separated, it's not because you're doing anything wrong. It's just because you're not allowing yourself to really perceive more of the totality of who you are. You are just focused too much into the dense physical field and operating through really your five senses and through your programming, right? Your ego controlling it or driving the car, as we like to speak, right? We like to say. Well, it's time that you take that steering wheel back and take control over your life by remembering who you are. You want to not only remind yourself mentally of who you are, but you just want to remind your body physically of who you are, which is a calm, loving, energetic being. Well, how do we do that? Well, we consciously cultivate a few moments here and there throughout our day of calm, loving, compassionate space into the heart. We breathe into the heart space. We calm ourselves. We allow our blood pressure to drop. We allow our brain waves to slow down. We allow our breathing to become deeper and more controlled, more rhythmic. We allow that heart to get into coherence with our brain, right? Our brain waves start to slow down, like I mentioned a moment ago, and you start to navigate or drop into the quantum field. That is collapsing that timeline into the present moment. And everything that exists in the timeline seems to vanish, if only for a moment, and everything that is outside of the timeline starts to reveal itself to you. Okay, so all you really need to do is give yourself those moments throughout the day. There are a lot of tools and techniques that can assist you. There's yoga, meditation, grounding, salt baths, crystals, singing bowls, frequency binaural beat meditations, all sorts of tools that you could use to focus, help you focus inward and take your mind away from the noise so that you could essentially collapse this 3D field into a fifth dimensional field and higher and allow yourself to start to tap into and perceive those energies. You can do that any moment throughout the day. We discuss this in my New You program, and the people in the program are doing that and starting to be able to take control over their lives and not let their mind, their ego, control them. That's a game changer. I am opening up enrollment for my New You program in just a few days. If you're interested, I would definitely jump on the waitlist. You'll be one of the first to be invited into the program. So go ahead and do that. I'm going to put a link in the description. And thank you so much for watching today. I'll see you soon.